Good. Oh. Sorry, good morning, how are you?
How's the week been?
Been okay? Yeah, it's been okay. The lads have trained well, and look forward to the game on Sunday.
You obviously brought them in on Sunday on a scheduled day off, I guess, to go over what happened the day before. How did they react to that?
They were fine. They were fine with it. Whether it was scheduled or not, it was. I don't know where that nonsense comes from either, but we had them in on Sunday. It's something which I've done before. It's something which I'll do in the past, and a lot of clubs do it now, where they're in on a Sunday and give them Monday off, and that's what we did. But of course here, it's sensationalised, unfortunately.
What was the reaction from the players?
The reaction to the players has been fine since I've walked through the door. Look, we didn't play well enough. Quite simple. And no matter how we analyse it and whatever, we'll have to do better, and I'm sure we will do better on Sunday. We didn't play well enough at Norwich, and I think they fully understand that too.
Has it had to be a bit of soul searching from?
I don't think so. I think it's a bit early yet to have soul searching. We just have to perform better than what we did last week, and I'm sure we will.
You mentioned certain things being sensationalised. You say there's only been 2 games. Do you feel the reaction from certain quarters has been over the top so far?
Well, it's not for me to judge on that, but I think it's let other people to be fair and responsible. And as I said, after 2 games, there's so-called mini crisis and all the rest of it, and that is what you say with over sensationalised. Everything seems to be that way. But look, I understand that. It's the nature of the club. It always has been. There's always a storm in Newcastle, and at the minute we're in one. So the only way we can do it is to get a couple of results and the team to perform. And after 2 games, I think it's very, very early to judge just yet.
Is that, Steve, probably the hardest thing to deal with? Maybe what's going on outside the club rather than actually what's going on.
Actually, inside the club, the players, me staff, who more importantly are the ones what really, really count, and everybody since I've been here in the last month, and I've been here a month, 5 weeks, has been terrific towards everything we're trying to put in place. So in that respect, yes, but I always knew and I always know that the only way that I can shut a few people up is by getting a couple of results. And of course, the quicker I do, the better.
Was it, I know you won't want to talk too much about last week, was it the manner of the result that concerned?
Yeah, it was just the overall performance. Look, I'm sure half the teams who got beaten in the league last week will be the same thing. We didn't play well enough, we didn't do enough. I said that pretty clear at the end of the game. That's still my opinion now, and mine is now to put it right on the training ground and look for a huge, better performance, certainly on Sunday.
After the Norwich game, it looked like you were light on options, certainly in attack. Is that lessened at all this week?
Yeah, we hope that St Maximum is going to be okay. It's still too early for Andy Carroll and Dwight Gale, so in forward options, but everybody else is starting to return. Christian Atsu has been on the pitch all week as well, who I hadn't even seen until Tuesday, so it was good to see him and what he'll offer us as well, which is important.
And Joe Linton okay after?
Yeah, he's fine.
Just in terms of the formation, I know you won't want to give too much away, but you played the 3-5-2, 5-3-2 so far. Are you looking to perhaps change that?
Maybe, but I thought we did very, very well against Arsenal for a large part of the game. So I think we can talk about formations and this, that and the other. It's how you really perform. So yes, we might tinker a little bit and change 1 or 2 things, but I still think it's too early to start really, really radically changing formations. We've only played twice, and one of them, granted, we didn't play well enough. For large periods against Arsenal, we were okay. So we'll be okay, I'm sure. Thank you.
Steve, how is Sean Longstaff? In your view, is he ready to start again?
Is he ready to start again? Well, certainly last week I just detected that he was a little bit ginger with his knee, which is understandable. He's been out for the best part of 5 months, and the one thing I needed to do was just try and protect him a little bit and have a conversation with him to say, look, it's normal that sometimes, you might have to miss a day or two just to make sure he was ready. But certainly when he came on against Norwich last week, he had an immediate influence on the team, and we were much better when he was in there. So my job is to make sure that he's right. He's 100% right. He's only a young lad making his way, and of course he's had a dramatic rise very, very quickly. And him and his brother have impressed me immensely. But it's my job to protect him a little bit as well, and that's all I did last week.
And obviously that's a specific case of protecting your player for physical reasons. But is there a sense as well as the manager that if it hasn't been a good start, which it hasn't, you have to protect the players as a group more widely, try and keep that positive?
Well, my job is to protect a young player, especially when he's had an injury. When the kid has had his first injury to deal with, and it's a nasty one, to be out for 5 months. And as I said, I think I only arrived 4 or 5 weeks ago, and his first competitive game really was the West Ham game in pre-season. We hadn't done a lot with him in pre-season in terms of physicality and just the workload on his knee. But look, his knee's fine. However, there's times with it when he's not so good with it. So we'll just have to try and protect that.
You've still got players sidelined. We know that it's a tough start overall in terms of fixtures. How much of a challenge is this at the moment for Newcastle?
Well, we're only 2 games in, and when I looked at the first 5 or 6, we knew, we're going to play the top 4 or 5 in the first half a dozen games. So we knew it was going to be difficult. But so I'm under no illusion that it's difficult until we get a result, and let's hope we can perform and get a result at the weekend. And
you mentioned your desire to get a result and a better performance after the Norwich game. Did you see that from the players as well?
Well, they've trained well all week. They've worked extremely hard all week. I think they know as well as everybody else that we didn't play well enough. Quite simple, but I'm sure there's lots of other managers too who the team didn't play well enough last week. And the one thing you can do is go to work, speak to a few, ask a few questions, and put it right on the training ground. They've trained really well all week, as I've said. Let's hope we can go and produce a performance at the weekend.
As you joked last week, nice easy trip to Tottenham this Sunday. Obviously buoyed as well by a point against Manchester City.
Look, they're a very, very, very good side. As good as you get. One of the best teams in Europe. So, we're under no illusion how difficult it's going to be. But hopefully it's just the right type of game for us after last week. Not many people give us a chance to go in there. So let's go and enjoy the occasion. We'll have to play well to get anything at all. But you're right, Tottenham are a very, very good side.
And in your view, just on Tottenham, will they be serious title challengers this season?
I would think so. They've been there or thereabouts now for the last 2-3 years. They've got a wonderful manager. Got obviously a new stadium and this, that and the other. Everything is geared towards them making a challenge, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're there or thereabouts, that's for sure. Thank you.
Steve, I suppose when you got the job, you knew that everything would be very closely scrutinised, particularly early on. How do you kind of protect the players from that kind of, if you like, media hailstorm outside?
Well, the one thing you can't do really is that. You try to, and of course you hope that I take it all, which I'm prepared to do. If I have to do that, then of course I will. And that's always been the case, the manager, the buck stops with me, that's for sure. I'm responsible for the result, and over time I hope that the players have a certain trust, because it's always difficult. I think they know what it's like to play here. The expectation here is always high. So I think a lot of them have come to terms with dealing with what happens at Newcastle after a bad result, and a lot of them have been here a few years, so I've got used to it. So I'll always do my utmost to try and protect them, but ultimately they're the ones who go over the white line.
And I suppose the difference between now and your early managerial career is the whole dimension of social media as well, which can kind of magnify everything quite quickly.
Yeah, I think the disappointing thing is people who just generally tell lies. The Michael Chopra thing was blown out of all proportion. It's laughable really. For the most, for people in the dressing room and me staff, and some of this stuff is just nonsense, but obviously gets mentioned regularly.
One of the keys, I know a lot of pundits are talking about it, trying to get the very best out of Joelinton, and Almiron, who actually showed a lot of signs of promise in pre-season, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. They did in pre-season. Look, it's new. It's new for Joe. It's new for 4 or 5 of the players. You know, some of them haven't made their debut yet. Some of them have only been here 2 weeks. You know, so given time, then we hope that they can forge some sort of relationship, and I'm quietly confident we see enough in pre-season. As I said, for large parts of the game against Arsenal, we did okay, and Joe was a threat. Had a couple of chances, one might have gone in. And for Almiron, the thing what we're working on, of course, is can we get him higher up the pitch? And he's a very, very good player, but does a lot of it. He tends to drift into midfield naturally. That's what he wants to do. So, you know, we've tried to work on can we get him higher up the pitch in a goal-scoring position.
Going to Tottenham, obviously everybody associated with the club, fans included, looking for a better performance. But do you think you can exploit the lesser expectation on this game in terms of what you might achieve?
Well, make no mistake, we're going to have to play well, very, very well, if we're going to have to get something far better than we did last week, which I'm quietly confident we'll do. But make no mistake, they're a very, very, very good side. So they've got no real weaknesses at all when you analyse them. They've been there or thereabouts now for years. They're as good as you get in anywhere in Europe. So we understand how difficult it's going to be, but that's the beauty of the Premier League. Can we go there? Can we put up a performance? And it might just be the right type of game for us to go and respond for what was a disappointing result last week.
And getting the Gales and the Carrolls of this world fully fit, I mean, how important could that be as the season progresses?
Well, we always knew that's always for every manager. The one thing you don't want is 4 or 5, especially all in one position, sat in the treatment room. So they're working hard. Hopefully, as I said, I've seen Christian Atsu for the first time this week, and he's trained the last 2 days. So let's hope in the next week or 2 that we have a fit Dwight or a fit Andy who will give us an option at the right end of the pitch.
Steve, hi. In this era, how difficult is it for a team like Newcastle to go away and for someone like yourself to get the tactical balance right of an away game against one of the top teams in this era?
Well, I think that's always the challenge of the Premier League in particular. You know, the top sides now, there's a huge divide, isn't there? You know, we can all probably pick the top 6 of the Premier League. You might not get them in the right order, but you'll pick the top 6 teams. And I think that's been the case now for the past 10 years. These big teams now just keep improving year on year. And I think that's always the challenge of the Premier League is can we set up against them what will make it difficult and give them a game? And that's been the beauty of the Premier League. You know, it's never an easy one. So make no mistake, we're going to have to defend and defend well. And of course, have we got enough when we've got the ball to cause them a problem? And quietly confident that we can.
Just last one, obviously a lot of talk about the noise, and you've said earlier in the press conference that you'll take it rather than the players and that sort of thing, but how hard is that? How hard is it for you? Well,
listen, you know, for the last 4 or 5 weeks it has been, you know, it's been relentless, hasn't it? Let's make no mistake about it, but I've grown accustomed to it, and as I said, if I can protect the players, then I will. Then ultimately, it's always my responsibility. I'm the one who sits here. I'm the one who talks to you. I'm the one who picks the team. I'm the one who tells them out and play. No formation, no tactics, no substitutions wrong. The whole thing at the minute, we can't even take a warm-up. So, you know, some of it is a bit laughable, but, you know, you just have to try and get through it and keep your dignity and make sure you're strong enough to see it through.
Steve, can I just check, just something you touched on about the Michael Chopper comments, how difficult is it when you're hearing things like that on the outside?
Well, I'm just surprised that people take any attention to him. It's really, you know, some of the stuff is just fabricated and lies. So when it's like that, you think, why is that making national headlines, which is total rubbish?
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers, thank you. Cheers, thank you. Oh.